Well, hi everybody, this is Dr. Schroder with this week's video introduction to week number 3 of our course in curriculum development and evaluation. And again, a very nice week of discussion. The focus this week was, we had two assignments. The first, of course, was the discussion question, addressing this question of curriculum as a living document. And as I discussed, or as I pointed out in the discussion threads, that is really kind of an important concept. Curriculum development oftentimes is hindered if curriculum is not changed often enough. And in other words, if changes happen in nursing practice or changes happen in the course materials and then the curriculum never really keeps up with it. Or the other end of the spectrum, curriculum can also suffer if changes happen too often, or if changes aren't allowed to kind of seek your own level, so that you can kind of sort of find out what's happening at the curriculum before you go in and make a lot of changes. As a general rule, and again, this is really more of a rule of thumb. I'm not even sure that I can necessarily find it in the literature, but course curriculum usually has a shelf life of about 3 years. After 3 years, if you've been teaching the same thing the same way with no changes, it's time to go in and look at it again. Most schools have a program review process, and we'll be talking about program review a little bit later. We've really, in a sense, been talking about it all the way through the class, because this whole concept of curriculum evaluation is really focusing on the concept of program review. But program review is a term specifically used in colleges to indicate a standardized process of going through, of evaluating all coursework. The curriculums, the curricula, the number of hours that are used to teach the course, the units, etc. And if a course is not meeting the needs of the institution, or if it's not meeting the needs of the program, it should be discontinued and just not taught anymore. A lot of times schools will have a course that is approved and it's in the catalog, but it never gets taught. Nobody really wants to teach it, or there just really isn't a need for it. And there really shouldn't be a lot of deadwood in the college catalogs and in programs. If a course isn't being taught, it should probably be moved to, just be removed from the course catalog entirely and removed from the curriculum if it's an optional course, for example, that really isn't being taught and really isn't serving a need. This week we're going to move on to discuss the components of a curriculum. What is it that, when we use this term, we've been using the term a lot, but what does curriculum really mean? What is that? What is it that we're looking at? What is the scope and boundaries of what constitutes a curriculum? And that'll be the focus this week. Note that next week there is no discussion question in week number 4. It's because in week number 4 you have your paper, your program evaluation paper. And so I've already left some instructions on that. I've left some feedback in the class to answer some questions. I've had a couple questions via email, and that's a paper that typically has a lot of questions that come with it. So I wanted to kind of sort of get ahead of those questions and try to address as many as I could. I'll be talking about this a little bit more in either my written or my video next week. But I just wanted to touch base with you and let you know that, of course, the discussions are going great. I'm very happy participating in the discussions. The discussions have been very robust and been very enjoyable, and I think they've been pretty insightful, and there's been a lot of good information shared. I have already graded your discussion questions for week number 2. I will be grading your journal responses. Those will take a little bit longer, and those will be kind of like be done throughout the week. So I'm not going to get them done tonight. I will start them this afternoon. But you may not actually see your individual responses till sometime later in the week. So if you don't see your grade until later in the week, it's just because it takes a little bit more time, a little bit more work on my end to go ahead and grade those. So they'll be graded by the end of the week, but possibly not before the weekend. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week. If you have any questions, as always, let me know. I hope that everybody has had a great Halloween and that you're enjoying the fall weather. I'm personally a summertime kid, so I kind of miss the summertime weather, but Oh well, the seasons are what they are, and at least we're not getting the high winds and the fires here in Southern California like we were earlier. So um, I look forward to seeing everybody in class, participating along with you, and I'll see you in the discussion forums.